All right, good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. We'll just take a minute here. We're just getting everything started. How's everybody's week going? We'll see if anybody jumps on with us here. We got some people over in the talk. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Where's everybody at? Jump on. Let me see where you're at. Let me know where you're at. If you jump on, say hello. Bunch of people on the talk. Good morning, good morning. I'm going to talk about the TikTok situation here a little bit today. Interesting what's going on here in the US and TikTok. A lot of people jumping on. Good morning. Appreciate you guys. Hello, hello. Got a couple people. If you are watching this on any of the platforms, leave a comment, say hello. Let me know where you guys are at. Good morning. How's everybody doing? All right. Shay Sparks, good morning to you. I see you out there. Thank you. It's not snazzy lighting. It keeps going in and out. Chris is leaving a comment, and for that, I appreciate it. Thank you, kind sir. I love it. I love it. That's TMI, Chris. TMI, but I appreciate you jumping on. We got some people over on Instagram too. Thank you. Appreciate it. Facebook's live. A lot of people over on TikTok. Good morning, TikTok land. I'm going to be talking about you guys specifically here in just a few minutes, but we're going to get the show started here. Here, let's go ahead and get started. And I want to remind everybody that April here in the U.S., April is the month of the military child. Shout out to all the military kids that are out there. Appreciate you all. Over 1.6 million military kids here in the United States. I think that's awesome. God bless our military families. And, again, I say this a lot, but a lot of the times we forget about, the spouses, but more importantly, we tend to forget about the kids. And kids move quite a few times with families that are in the military. So I think it's great. Military kids, thank you. We got some things coming up. We're excited that our sister company is going to be tomorrow. We're going to be at the Pass the Torch for Veterans PA. It's a new organization, the nonprofit organization. We'll be down in Corryville, Pennsylvania tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. with our sister company, HMG Beverage. They have a new roast out right now that you can go to hmgcoffee.com. Check it out. This is their new roast. It's called Mellow Bean. It is a decaf. And TikTok land, if you go hmgcoffee.com, you can check it out. And if you use promo code HMG10, you're going to get 10% off, whether it's on this roast or any other anything that we have on the website right now. 10% off if you go to hmgcoffee.com, make a purchase, and use promo code HMG10. We'll give you 10% off. So, Ken, there you go. It's right there. Tell the wife we got the decaf, Mellow Bean. This is what she likes. It's on the website now. Morning, brother. Appreciate you jumping on as always. Actually, you know what? I'm sitting here waving around. Here's what it looks like. That's what the label looks like. So when you get on the website, boom, have a look-see. 10% off right now. So that's tomorrow. Tomorrow, Pass the Torch event for veterans in Pennsylvania. We're also going to be, mark your calendars if you're out east. Our friends over at Warriors on the Water LTD, they're doing their annual pig roast Saturday, May 18th. We'll be down there as well. This is a fun event. They do a lot of stuff. This is support veterans, military, first responders, and their families. This is a really good time. They do a great job at this event. It's a lot of fun. 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. down in at the Ocotillo Reservoir in southern Lancaster County. That's near Kirkwood, Pennsylvania, just south of Kirkwood, Pennsylvania. So come on out, mark your calendars for that. It's going to be a good time. We'll be out there doing some interviews. We'll also have the sister company, HMG Beverage. We'll be serving coffee out there as well. So mark your calendars for that as well. All right. It's crazy news topics this week. And I'm going to start off with one that is kind of cool and strange at the same time. Hits home to the military. I didn't really pull up the articles on it, but for all you military vets out there and whatnot, you go to Task and Purpose. I know they recently did an article. I saw it this morning. Army officer turns he was a commissioned Army officer through the ROTC program in 2018, gives up his commission as an officer to join the United States Marine Corps as an enlisted. Now, those of you that are military, we know that it's not uncommon to see a lot of people switching branches. A lot of the time, it's people going to the Air Force, let's be honest. But I've known of one guy that I served with, my buddy Ron. He was Army first, and then he went into the Marine Corps, and then he came back as a guardsman a long time ago. But I didn't get the name of this officer recently, but it was based out of Texas. But I thought it was pretty cool. He got commissioned through the ROTC program in 2018, and then gave up his commission to join the Marine Corps as an infantryman. So, hats off to you, sir, or whomever. I think he's what's the E3 in the Marine Corps? I forget. Nonetheless, like Lance Corporal, is that what it is? But nonetheless, all the best to that. I just thought it was an interesting headline. Not something you see very often. All right, moving on. NFL draft was last night. Does anybody care? I'm going to just sit here for a second. Did anybody watch the NFL draft last night? Anybody? I really need to get my soundboard hooked up where I can hit the cricket noise. Oh, there goes the camera. Let's get this thing readjusted here. Stand by, folks. Facing some technical difficulties this morning. There we go. Ken, no. Chris did. Chris, I figured you did. Were you satisfied with your pick that the Steelers made? Me being a Packers fan, we needed an O-line. I wasn't mad. They usually mess up. So I didn't really watch a whole lot of it. But I saw some highlights of it. David, good morning, brother. How are you? Appreciate you jumping on. So anyway, NFL draft should be interesting. The line pick. Yeah, I agree, Chris. I agree. Next up, let's go. Let's move on here. I'm doing good, David. Thank you. Canada is blocking news pages on Instagram. This was something new. One of the American Faith, I believe, was the news organization that's being blocked in Canada now. And it's not the first time that I've heard this happen. We've had several things blocked where you couldn't see. I've got some friends up there that try to watch the show, and if I say something or whatnot, all of a sudden it gets canned. I don't know. Has anybody else seen that? Maybe not. I know we got some people in Canada over on the talk that are watching. Do you guys see that at all? Let me know. Keep it up. Thank you. Appreciate you guys' support over there. Mr. William, what do we have here? Joel William. Joel, so I'm going to say this real quick. Packers always disappoint during the draft, so it was, I was surprised with the picks that they made. I thought they're decent. That Atlanta pick blew everybody's mind. I don't think Atlanta necessarily needed a quarterback. My only thought process behind that was, are they going to groom him under Cousins, or do we not know something that's going on down there? Yeah, that's the only thing I could think about that. So that's it for the draft. That's it for the draft. All right, let's get into some other topics here, guys. Some important topics, headlines that are coming out right now. Biden administration signs onto medical surveillance program. Medical surveillance program. Uh, Last week, the White House signed onto the Global Health Security Program alongside 50 other countries. Okay, well, let's just calm down. Everybody's getting uptight. I can feel it. Just hold on a second here. Let's see why. The most effective. This is from a quote. The most effective way to mitigate the impact of health security threats is to prevent, detect, and contain them at their source. Makes sense. The strategy focuses on working with countries around the world to ensure that they are better able to prevent, detect, and respond to global health security threats. Hmm. Mm, Okay, I guess I could kind of see that, but where exactly is this going? Over the next 5 years, the United States is going to work with other countries to build, further strengthen, and sustain the GHS program, incorporate gender responsive and social inclusion considerations into the program, and close the gaps in preparedness. These actions will aid the implementation of the international health regulations and contribute towards achieving the G7 pack for pandemic readiness global health security agenda. Oh, so those of you probably don't remember, a couple months ago we talked about it on the show. The G7, the G7 stuff, and all this stuff is coming together now. We're seeing it. And part of this, I should add, the global immunization programs are also being recommended for this. Strong immunization programs with national vaccine delivery systems, effective cold chains, and quality control are the cornerstone of the GHS, helping to protect populations uh, and groups against emerging disease threats. The plan says, adding that vaccines are critical to help respond to epidemic-prone diseases. I've talked to several people in the healthcare field about this. Uh, I have a feeling that this is a control thing. Some of you in TikTok disagree. That's fine. I'm curious to. We've talked about this in the past, where you see the G7 plan, or this was part of the 2030 agenda. Don't take my word for it. You can look this up. Google 2030 agenda. This here falls into that. The World Economic Forum has a 2030 agenda. They talk about the G7 pack, the pandemic readiness. Bill Gates has come online to talk about this. And again, everybody knows, if you've been watching this show for a while, know that I'm such a big fan of Bill Gates. And I say that sarcastically for you new viewers over on TikTok. Uh, he's not a doctor. I have family members that are in the medical field. My wife's in the medical field. Looking at this medical surveillance program, uh, nobody's happy about it. So is it more about control? I'm not telling you one way or the other. I'm telling you, go look it up. Read the fine lines and then put the puzzle pieces together. It's going to take a little bit of work to do. But now the Biden administration has forcefully put this on the American people. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Anybody have any more thoughts on that? And then we're going to move on to the next one. And this will take, I think this is going to take some time because this was just signed in either this last Monday or last Friday. But look it up, medical surveillance program. And it's not the first time we've heard about this. This medical surveillance program has been going on and off for the last couple of years. So it's not like this isn't anything necessarily new. What's new about it is that he's we got out of it and now we're getting put back in it. And I say we as a nation as a whole alongside with 50 other countries. So it goes back, like I said, the G7 Pact for pandemic readiness. Mm, that sounds funny to me. That's just me, though. Appreciate you guys over on the talk. Thank you for the comments. Next up, we got Colorado turns schools into welfare agencies to accommodate migrants. Again, this isn't necessarily anything new, but I thought this was interesting because Aurora school system, which is just outside of Denver, um, normally sees about 250. Uh, Let me see here. It says more than 2,800 children of illegals have flooded the Aurora school systems. Um, the outlet usually welcomes about 500 children a year of illegal immigrants a year. Children. But but the number has jumped up to 250 children every week now. One Venezuelan woman told the local paper in Aurora that she gets, quote, everything, end quote, from the school that her son attends. Um, the lady states, and this is the lady from Venezuela states, this is the only place I feel supported, end quote. Clothes, Wi Fi, food, shoes, they give us everything. Interesting. I didn't realize it was getting that detailed or that deep into the communities. Those you out there, do you see this going on in any other communities other than Aurora in Colorado? Is this happening in your neck of the woods? If you're seeing this where you live, leave a comment. I'd be curious to see where this is happening. Next up, we got a couple more here. This one here: carbon dioxide emissions do not directly cause an increase in global temperatures. Now, this is a study. This is a study that's being done. Rob, morning to you. A study published in Applications of Engineering Science found that carbon dioxide emissions do not directly contribute to global temperature. Okay. Now, if you read, I was researching this a lot for the last couple of days, and there's a lot of articles on CO2 and carbon dioxide emissions and whatnot. This particular study goes kind of against all of those, which I found interesting. And it says because the Earth is already saturated with carbon dioxide, increased levels of CO2 cannot cause an increase in temperature. Well, then I asked, well, why is that? Another place said the saturation principle suggests that greater greenhouse gas concentrations do not lead to radiation absorption. So they're saying that the reason why they're coming to this conclusion is that it doesn't contribute to anything because the radiation under consideration is practically not being examined. The condition is referred to as saturation of the absorption of the absorbing substance. So, despite the fact that the majority of publications attempt to say that we have this catastrophic future of our planet due to increase of CO2 and the Earth's climate, um, says it's not necessarily the case. Here's where it gets really fun. I think this was pretty interesting, and I'll tell you why here in a second. Um, although carbon dioxide emissions are evidently not the threat to humanity, the Biden administration announced a plan last August to spend $1.2 billion of taxpayer money to vacuum the sky. Wait for it. Vacuum the sky. Now, I read this and I couldn't help but to laugh because I immediately, my mind went to, what was that movie? Spaceballs. You remember that movie Spaceballs when they had like the vacuum cleaner and they're sucking out all the oxygen from the Earth's atmosphere? I for some reason I pictured that. I know I'm an idiot, but I thought it was kind of funny. So to capture carbon, uh, two carbon capture projects, two carbon capture projects are expected to remove more than 2 million metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions each year from the atmosphere, an amount equivalent to an annual emissions from roughly 445,000 gasoline powered cars, and create 4,800 good paying jobs in Texas and Louisiana. I think that's kind of cool. I think if you're creating jobs, I think that's cool, especially nowadays where we live in a society where you need jobs, right? And if it cleans up the air, I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I just think it was funny how they say they're vacuuming the air or they're vacuuming the, yeah. Anyway, look this up: carbon dioxide emissions, or you can look up vacuum the sky was another one. And I don't know why my camera is acting up today. It's starting to really get to me because it's cold in this room. So I know it's not overheating. So stay with me, guys. All right. Let's see here. Okay, I talked about TikTok, and those of you on TikTok, this was a big thing. This week, the big headline was the Biden campaign continues using TikTok despite signing law against the platform. Earlier this week, it was passed. Lawmakers pushed for restriction, citing concerns that the company's ownership structure could allow the Chinese government to gain access to America's data. Like, come on, really? Seriously? That's the claim that's being made through TikTok. And what's funny is after they signed that, the statement follows that Biden signing the bill into law that gives the app parent company BitDance a 9-month window to find a buyer with a possible 3-month extension if the sale is on their way. Problem with that is I don't know if this is really going to happen because it's a lot of people are coming up and saying, "Oh, TikTok is this or TikTok is that, and it's bad, and it's stealing our information." You could say that about any social media platform as well, right? The deeper side of it is why is the government coming in and trying to really ban this? I feel like there's more to it. That's just me. Thoughts on TikTok? And a lot of people don't care about TikTok. It's kind of a younger generation kind of a thing. We just started using it recently for this show purpose. But it's going to be interesting what happens there. There's a lot of quote unquote influencers that make a lot of money off of TikTok. And I think that one of the arguments I read in one of the articles, there's several articles about this TikTok law that's being pushed right now, is that the government's worried about stealing information. I think it's because it's not owned here in the United States. It's owned by a Chinese company. That's my opinion on it, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. Chris, those are all good points. I want to recognize that about the climate stuff. Yep. Appreciate those comments. So anyway, the TikTok stuff is going to be interesting to see what happens The Chinese government or the Chinese, the owners and the CEO of BitDance have come out and said that they are going to fight it or try to pursue a lawsuit here in the U.S. Whatever that looks like, I don't know. We will see. But I thought that was pretty interesting to see that. Oh, is it? Here's a question for you. With the United States doing that, is that a form of censorship? Do you feel that that could potentially be a form of censorship? Those over on TikTok that are watching right now, is that a form of censorship? If you get rid of it here in the United States, is that the government censoring censoring from things that we can and can't see? I don't know. It's interesting nonetheless. Last headline. Then we're gonna get into the shows here. This one out of Arizona for all my Arizona peeps. Judge declares mistrial in oh, hold on a second. Let me see. Tony, Tony jumped on. My man Tony, all smoke and mirrors. Yes, government want to own it. Yep, the USF. Yeah, the government wants to control it. I agree. Happy birthday to Tony Aberscato. He left a comment on Facebook. Go blow up his page with happy birthdays and unicorn pictures. He loves unicorns. He doesn't admit that out loud, but I'm telling you, I've been a long time friend. He loves the unicorns. So go wish him a happy birthday. All right, last one. Judge declares mistrial in Arizona rancher case. A judge declared a mistrial this week after an Arizona jury was unable to reach a unanimous verdict in a murder trial for Arizona rancher George Allen Kelly. Kelly accused of killing a Mexican citizen found on his property. Kelly was later arrested, charged with second-degree murder and aggravated assault for defending his wife and the property. It is to be said that the gentleman, the Mexican citizen that was killed, has a history of illegally crossing into the United States and multiple deportations. So interesting there that's happening. I have been down to the border. I've worked at border missions. I've got friends that have worked at border missions. I was on a property several years ago, down there, where there wasn't a wall. There was a railroad tie that you just step over into Mexico. So it was along a dirt road, and then you had a railroad tie that was basically the border. And as you cross into the man's property, not necessarily Mr. Kelly's, but there was there was a rancher that we were on, and he had a problem that people that were crossing over were killing his cattle for food. Now, I get it; they're trying to survive and whatnot, but at the same time, there's a way to get into or kind of if I went to another country and I want to live there, because there's certain processes, procedures that need to be done. I don't know. It's going to be interesting what that. But I saw that Arizona. I've been seeing that rancher case for a little while now. So yeah, the man was standing his ground, protecting his what was his. Yeah, I believe that. Ken. Yep. Gabe, what's up, brother? Appreciate you. Okay, real quick, one more time. Our sister company, HMG Beverage, has got a new coffee roast out. It is a decaf coffee. It's decaf. That's what the label looks like. You can't see it all. It actually says decaf in the top left corner. Buy it now. This is what it looks like in the bag. There's a whole bean. Mellow bean, it's called. Mellow bean. You see decaf right there. Those of you over on TikTok. If you go to hmgbeverage.com or go to hmgcoffee.com, use promo code HMG10. I'm going to give you 10% off your order right now. So go check it out. All right. New show to HMG family, Senior Living Guide. And you can check that out, seniorlivingguide.com. We're happy to have them on board. So go check them out. Ken says I'm still going to call it false hope. I thought it was muddy water. That was another one. I'm not. Listen, a lot of people have asked for decaf. I'm not a decaf drinker. Have I drank this? Yes, I've drank all the roasts that we create. It's not bad. I liked it. I hate to say it. I'm admitting it now. It was pretty good, but I might be being biased because I made it. So whatever. I can do that. Senior Living Guide. Go to seniorlivingguide.com. New show is out. Go check them out. They are on board with us now, so we're happy to have them. Their players should be up this weekend, so stay tuned for that. Next up, we got the Decision Hour with yours truly. This week, choosing your hard, overcoming anxiety and mental health with my friend Brittany Richmond. Love Brittany to death. Met her last August in at an event. Finally got a chance to sit down with her. Brittany is a beacon of hope in the world of teen mental health. She's a keynote speaker. She's now an author. She talks about her journey from anxiety to keynote speaker. We discuss the importance of grounding and the role of medication as a bridge, not as a full-blown thing, but using medication as a bridge, and the courage to face our struggles head on. If you those of you that are grappling with anxiety or seeking transformation, this episode is one you definitely don't want to miss. Brittany is very inspirational to people of all ages. She's a great gal. I'm honored to call her a friend. And she's got an amazing story. She wrote a book recently that just recently came out. It's called Lies My Anxiety Has Told Me. And you can order that on Amazon, or if you go to BrittanyRichmond.com, you can order it there as well. Ken, that's Kim's happy. That's right. There you go. All right. Next up, we got the Shay Sparks Show this week. Recovery Mindset and Affirmations with Eric Allen, also known as EA. EA is a certified alcohol and drug abuse counselor. His mission in life is to lift others through the diagnosis and treatment of addiction and mental illness. His motto is resiliency and recovery. One individual, one family, one community at a time. This was a great episode. Check it out. It's called the Shay Sparks Show. All right. Next up, appreciate TikTok. Thank you. Next up, Misfit Nation podcast. These guys do 3 shows a week, and they're all awesome. I love them. Last night's episode that came out, Empowering Veterans, the journey of U.S. Army veteran Sean Welsh. Sean's distinguished career spans over 20 plus years in the Army, where he served as an intelligence professional and a senior non-commissioned officer. Throughout his military service, Sean was committed to taking care of his fellow soldiers, and the mission continues today through the Vet SOS podcast. Don't miss this enlightening conversation with Sean, where they celebrate the resilience and leadership of veterans. Cool episode. Love it. Check it out. It's called the Misfit Nation podcast. Next up, we got Homefront Sit Rep podcast with David. David was on here a little bit earlier. This week, Article 15 Comedy is a traveling group of veterans. A traveling group of veteran comedians based out of Texas. They go into VFWs, American Legions, and bring healing through comedy. It's pretty cool. Check it out. It's called the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. Also this week, check out, and you can go to Homefront Sit Rep podcast on Facebook. You can check out Tip of the Spear. They did their monthly roundtable as well. I didn't get a chance to jump in this week because I was roasting coffee. Mark Peterson, there he is. Patriot Pride, brother. Appreciate you jumping on. Talking about you here in just a few minutes. What do we got next? Next up, we got the Joel Evans Show. This week, Unlocking Healing and Growth. This episode, they had a conversation with Kim D'Amiro about the profound connection between physical symptoms and the inner truth. from the importance of listening to our bodies to the transformative power of softening into emotions. Some of the key takeaways this week: embrace energy of emotion and deep healing. Understand how chronic issues can stem from disconnection, and explore the power of technique like tapping to shift your mindset. This was a great episode, and if you've never done anything like tapping or whatnot, strongly recommend giving it a shot. I've done it myself, and it's life changing. So check that out. That's the Joel Evans show. Next up, Peterson, if you're still on, you're up next. We got the People's Patriot Project. I'm talking about We Got Your Six at 6 every Sunday night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. This week, they got a good friend of ours, Malachi's Gasket, a.k.a. Doc. Doc's going to be on the show. They also have Mark Green is going to be on the show this Sunday as well, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, the People's Patriot Project, nonprofit organization, check them out. They do a couple of shows a week as well. They also do We P3 Radio. I want to get my tongue tied with that. We P3 Radio, and it's highlighting veteran and first responders, musicians. So listen to their music and whatnot. It's pretty cool what they've done over there. And then they also do kind of their own We P3 wrap up, what they talked about throughout the week. So go check that out. That's People's Patriot Project. Next up, we got the Hero Academy with Super Dave. This week, Anthony Garrett dives into the challenges faced by first responders struggling with stress and anxiety and work-related issues in a high-pressure world of law enforcement. Anthony is a former corrections officer. Sheds light on unique struggles of active and retired first responders still haunted by past traumas, emphasizing the importance of seeking help and breaking the stigma around surrounding mental health. This is so true. So true. We got to get over this stigma of mental health, and that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to ask for help. So do it. And there's people out here that want to help, whether you're a first responder or military. Give us a call. Send us a DM. I'll get on the phone with you. We're here to help. Check it out, Hero Academy. Next up, we got Label Free Podcast. This week, Justin Wolf, the visionary founder of New Brew. Justin shares his personal journey of struggling with alcohol and how it led him to create a revolutionary non-alcoholic beverage using kava root and kratom leaf. The conversation dives into the transformative effect of these ingredients, what it does. This is mind-blowing. It really is. It's really cool on what this is doing. I'm not going to give it away. You got to listen to this, but I found it very interesting. I'm considering giving it a try if I can get it out here. And he talks about the process of developing the beverage and the mission behind New Brew. If you go newbrew.com, you can check it out as well. But that's this week's Label Free Podcast. Go check it out. Next up, Other Side of the Firewall. This week, the hosts, a little bit different. They're talking a little bit about, let's see here. They mentioned the latest episodes of Invisible and X-Men 97, as well as a comedy special by Neil Brennan. They talk about experience with video games, including Fallout and Horizon. They get into a lot of different topics this episode. It was pretty cool listening to it. These guys do a show every day, Monday through Friday, and their shows are about anywhere from 12 to about 25 minutes long. Very consumable stuff. You learn a lot, especially if you need some help with IT stuff. These are the guys that I go to. Check them out. The Other Side of the Firewall. Next up, Pushing Back Chaos. I don't know if Chris is still on or not. Chris, what do we? I'm going over some of these old comments here. Ken, yes. Gabe, yes. All right. Pushing Back Chaos. Air cover and Overwatch with Alan Weddington Jr. This week, Mike Mellon's still in transition. Mike welcomes and surprise guest Sergeant Alan, I think it's Staff Sergeant Alan Weddington, a friend, teammate who he hasn't seen since Afghanistan deployment in 2012. In this episode, you'll hear some shared stories from their time together in Afghanistan, conversations about engagements, creating a family environment, and losing teammates in combat. The conversation also, this particular conversation focuses on the discussion is what happens after it's all over? What's our purpose? What's our identity? What do we do now? How do we deal with the wounds that no one else can see? These are all great questions. And this is such a profound conversation that these guys have. Alan shares everything, the struggles, the confusion, the doubts, the thoughts of self-harm, but also the resurrection of his new life and purpose. It's truly a heartfelt story of overcoming the fears and rebuilding a better life and whatnot. This is a pretty inspirational episode this week, so go check it out. Next up, we got Environmentally Speaking. This week, Old Buildings, New Dreams. That's the title. I love it. Exploring adaptive reuse opportunity. Basically, this week, what they're talking about is taking old buildings, renovating them, and turning them into living places or new places. And they talk about going through the permitting process. And it's really cool because they talk about the exciting potential of green spaces and modern amenities. There's a couple of this show is based out of Rhode Island, Massachusetts area up in there, and they're talking about a lot of these older buildings that their people are trying to purchase and renovate and converting them into residential havens. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's neat, especially to get old buildings like that with a lot of history in them. And if it works out well. So check that out. That's Environmentally Speaking. Next up, the MSEC podcast. Military Child Education Coalition, great nonprofit organization. Go to militarychild.org. This week, military kids will experience, on average, 6 to 9 schools transitions from kindergarten to high school graduation. 6 to 9 different schools as a military child. They live a unique lifestyle filled with many adventures. That is certainly the case. Understatement. Listen as Corey. This week, Corey, a military child who's all grown up now, shares his story and impact growing up in a military community has had on his life. This was a pretty cool testimony. So go check it out. It's the MSEC podcast. Next up, we have the Arms Room Show. Those of you, somebody just asked, you can check out all these shows. Go to heroesmediagroup.com and find all the podcasts over there. Heroesmediagroup.com. Thanks for asking that. Arms Room Show. This week, they're discussing basic rifleman tactics and techniques. If you think you know, you don't. You got to listen to the show. The Arms Room Show. Find out about basic rifleman tactics and techniques. Arms Room Show. Love it. Check it out. Brian Roof, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you. What's happening? All right, I got a couple more here. Chasing Happiness is up next. Mr. Dement, Ryan Dement is the host. Today they're talking, they dive into serene waters of inner peace and contentment with David Choka is joining the show. He is talks about his journey to rediscover the lost art of listening to the divine voice within. David is a seasoned pastor and advocate for stillness and the importance of quiet reflection in a society addicted to instant gratification. How true is that statement? We live in a world that's very fast paced, believe it or not. With all this. So this was a cool episode. Check it out. Sometimes you just got to unplug. Last, certainly not least, Rise Up Voices from the Front Line. They got another podcast coming out for you. It's called this week's topic, relationships. Take the blame out of your game. Let's see here. They have Rise Up has expanded to provide you with a second podcast in their lineup. It's called Sparks, are little bites of big information to ignite transformation in your world. This is pretty cool. Every episode is about 10 minutes or less, filled with real world actionable tools, resources, ideas, and challenges that you can implement right away to change how you see, feel, and experience yourself and others in the world around you. Pretty cool. Check it out. Rise Up Voices from the Front Line. Sponsors out there, shout out to Jim Neary, Bait and Tackle, Warriors on the Water LTD, the Freedom People, Home Studio, Motorcycle Safety Lawyers, Alibi Tattoo, Forget Genetics, my tax fella, Anthony, appreciate you, brother. JB Auto Clothiers. Noticed I'm not wearing a suit today. I'm just kind of, I don't know. I got a lot going on today, so I just decided not to dress up today. That's all. And last but not least, our sister company, HMG Beverage. We haven't done a lot of the coffee stuff in quite a while, so we're introducing, today is the first day that we're bringing out the new roast Mellow Bean. It is our decaf, one of two decafs that we are going to have on the store. This is out today. You can get it if you go to hmgcoffee.com, and if you place an order today at checkout, use HMG10, and we're going to give you 10% off on your purchase. So that's it. Let's get out. If you're in the East Coast, if you're in Maryland, Pennsylvania, Jersey area, come on down this weekend. I'll be at the Coreyville Fairgrounds serving coffee tomorrow and doing interviews. So check us out down there. If you got stuff that you want us to cover, or if you'd like to become part of the HMG family, send us an email. You can send us an email at heroesmediagrp.com or info@heroesmediagroup.com. You can always send us a direct message as well. Brian, that's a great question. Send us a DM, Brian, with your email address, and I'll reach back out to you, and we'll jump on a call, Brian. That way we can chat about how to get you on the network. Great question. So yeah, send us a DM or email me personally. You can email me at adam@heroesmediagrp.com. And if I was organized, I would have like little things that I could put up on the screen where you people could see, but that would be too easy. And I like to make life difficult. Anyway, that being said, Brian, I look forward to hearing from you guys. Thanks for jumping on with me this week. Get outside this weekend. Think for yourselves. Remember, everything that I bring to you guys, and those of you over on TikTok, I see some of the comments. Don't take my word for this stuff. Just comments and headlines that I see that me personally find interesting. Go look this stuff up yourself. Come to your own conclusions. Let's think for ourselves, people. God bless you. God bless America. Have a great weekend, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Take care.